Hey family, what's up? It's Amor Perry, one of the three from UnFEMiliar Territory Podcast. Just wanted to thank y'all so much, first and foremost, for watching, tuning in, giving y'all's comments and y'all's feedback. We truly, truly appreciate it. Just want to let y'all know, we on episode 3, baby. We about to get to it. We getting deep. I just hope y'all ready. So listen, make sure y'all subscribe to all of our platforms. And go ahead, grab your drink, because I got mine. Let's do it.
Woo!
Sorry, y'all. You good?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, man. Welcome back. It's a great day to have a great day, as I like to say. How y'all feel, man?
Man. For me personally, it's been a week. Work has been real. The weekend just went by like this.
Yeah.
Been busy all weekend. But, it's a lot that's been going on this week.
Yeah.
A lot to process, a lot to take in.
Very much so.
Man, it's the perfect episode.
It very much so is. How you feel, yo?
I feel good. Always feel good to be here. Like Paris said, this week went by kind of quick.
Okay.
So I'm just soaking in, like, being kind of free right now because things about to get hectic. So,
all right.
Hectic. Okay.
Free.
This has been a tough week. It's been a tough week. And, all I would say is, for everyone that is watching, and listening, tell your loved ones that you love them every day, every chance that you get. You never know when that moment might come. And so just pray for the family, pray for my family. I pray for your family. Sure. We pray for y'all families. And, so y'all ready to jump into this episode?
Let's get it.
Let's do it.
Let's ride. So, COVID. AKA coronavirus, AKA Rona,
COVID-19.
AKA coronavirus. Yeah. Has definitely hit everyone hard. We know the physical aspect of it, right? But the mental aspect is one thing that's never really talked about as high as it should be. Especially because of the athletic world. A lot of times we're talking about now having people come in with the vaccinations. They're pushing the vaccination, right? And I'm like, okay, cool. But my thought process is the mental capacity, right? We've been hearing this word quarantine.
Quarantine.
They say quarantine who?
For over a year. Like, and I think for me, I'll say for me, when it first happened, I was just getting off tour. I was coming off of my second tour with DTLR and Puma, and we were doing the CIAA tournament, right? And a big shout out to everyone that I just named. And so it was crazy because we were like literally on a high, right? It was like, okay, cool. And then contracts were starting to flow in.
Listen, 2020 was about to be the year for everybody. And every asset. Like, for real.
It was like, okay, y'all been telling us to get our stuff together. We finally got our stuff
good
together.
now.
And now it's like, whoop, hold up, right? And I really felt like that happened. And so then it was literally like, okay, as soon as you get back, you don't have nothing else to do. You can't do nothing. You got to sit still. And like, you go into the gym, you don't have no mask on the first day because you don't necessarily know. A lot of people didn't believe it. A lot of people still don't believe it. And to each his own. There's no judgment zone here. Let me clarify that. For me, it was a thought process of, what do I do now? Because now I have to sit still. We couldn't go to the gym, right? As a person who tries to stay a little bit in shape after playing, it's like the gym was like my peace of mind, my sanity. Like, I get to get away from everybody. I ain't got to talk to nobody. Plug and play, whether I'm listening to another pod or if I'm listening to our pod or if I'm, I'm listening to music, whatever it might be. I'm like, okay, cool. That's my moment. And then everything stopped. Touring stopped. Radio stopped.
Screeching hoe.
Like TV stopped. Like church stop. Like, where they stop? Church.
You can't even go to church. You right.
Church. So,
man, we still watching it on YouTube.
You see what I'm saying? Like, everybody pre-recording or shooting live.
Right.
I don't know what's happening, but we ain't been in the building since. The Saints ain't been marching in a while, okay? But it got me thinking as to what is the overall effects that has taken place personally, like individually, like mentally, like, and I know for me it was that. So, Princess, what was you? Like,
so I'm not gonna lie, like COVID really didn't affect me because I work in healthcare, so my schedule didn't change. I was still going to work 9 to 5 every day. You know what I'm saying? So after work, I'll go home, or it was little things open till 10. I would go and just. So it really didn't affect me much. Like, I didn't really see a difference except for on weekends I really had like nothing to do. But other than that, like, I took advantage of COVID. Like, it really helped me out, to be honest with you. Like,
so, and I asked because I know everybody's like, okay, how do you mean it doesn't affect? Because like now, because people will take that personally.
Yeah, like
right?
people that it really
Definitely.
hit hard,
take that personal. They're gonna be like, wait, what you mean it don't affect you? You know what I've been through? Like, so
I mean, everybody has their different situations,
right.
but a lot of people was on unemployment while I was going to work, slaving for my money. You know what I'm saying? So, I mean, it did affect me in a way where, I had to be super careful working in healthcare. We're around COVID, you know what I'm saying? COVID patients. So it's like, I had to be super cautious because of the people that I love that I'm around, so that's how it affected me as far as like me being extra careful. Like, I'm going to work suited up, mask, shield on. And last March when it, when it started. So I mean, like, yeah, so I can't really, I apologize if it affected other people in different ways, but it really didn't affect me like really dramatically.
Do you feel like, I'm going to ask you this because this comment, and actually both of y'all can actually answer this, because do you feel as though that the statement that has been flowing around of, well, this is what you signed up for. So you already knew what you was getting into, because I've seen that statement float so much that it's like, what you mean? Like, what am I supposed to not feel what is happening? Like, so do you feel like that statement was like a chastisement, for lack of better words? Like, that's what you signed up for, so you just supposed to dive into it?
I don't know. Like, I really didn't have to adjust. So, like, nothing stopped on my end. It was just like I was doing what I had to do.
Right.
So I really can't really like
relate
tap into that.
Yeah.
Like, Paris, how you feel about it? Like,
and I'm just sitting
field,
here.
Right?
Yeah, I'm in the healthcare field. I do surgery every single day I go to work. So I'm in the operating room. It's just so many different aspects that I can like speak on. Like, I was still living at home with my mom, and she's over 60. So I'm going in and having to do surgery every day still.
Wow.
And deal with COVID patients, but still come home and share this space with her. So that affected me. But the main thing, similar to Princess, because I'm in the healthcare field, like, I was able to keep my job the entire time, and that's something that I'm truly like blessed and grateful
for. Definitely a blessing.
I wish I was on unemployment.
I'm not gonna hold you. Me too, but
wait a minute. Because somebody about to be like,
sitting in the house.
Do you know what them lines sounded like? I ain't talked to nobody for 5 months.
Right,
like,
it take months to just get your money and everything. But listen, like, for me, I can't imagine if I was one of the people that would have lost their job, and not have anything to turn to, especially if you have a family, you got children, you got to provide for other people outside yourself. Right. But COVID, man, like, the ORs shut down. Like, it was only emergent cases that were going on. Like, I was literally going to work, and we would have maybe one case divided amongst 4 people that was on my team.
Wow.
And so we were literally like just there. And granted, we were able to keep our jobs, like, and everything, but it definitely affected me in that light. Like, and also I'm not really an extrovert, but being able to go out and just do things, like go out to dinner and be outside the house. Like, we were just home.
Yeah, so like also what I want to say is, like, as far as like athletes and everything, like, it's important to always have plan B's and C's. Like, you don't have to be super talented in something, but it's things that you can do to really make money, like, because you need it.
Yeah.
Like, this was a prime example. Like, these jobs don't really need us to be there physically. So
they see that with all those government office jobs. Everybody teleworking now. Like,
and I think that's scary. I think that's the scary part, because a lot of people don't feel comfortable now knowing that we found ways to still get around. We found ways to still be able to do things, right? Like churches going virtual, right? And now like one of the churches that I frequent, online, of course, because we can't go in the building, but they created a whole church for people that just don't believe in going to the building now. So there's a whole different entity of their church that's a virtual church. So they specifically are members of that church. And I was like, wow. But it showed for me, I won't say that it mentally, it took a toll on me because my entire life is extroverted. I am an extrovert, right? So I'm used to going out every night between going from the radio station to the club, to the plane, to the, I'm in a different state. I'm moving, I'm grooving, I'm interviewing, I'm doing whatever it is that I'm doing. And, all of that was just like, nah, literally.
Yeah.
And so the one solid foundation that I possibly thought I had was going to the gym. And then when you take away, now you took away my employment, you took away my money, you took away my identity in a sense after sports, which I know we're going to dive into, but you took away literally the thought process that I was able to survive in this moment. And now it's like, okay, you want me to do something else? And sometimes I think in this season, I will say this, I don't know about y'all, but for me personally, this season showed me how much more I had in me.
Definitely.
Like this season showed me that, okay, I put a lot of effort into other companies that weren't building me.
Exactly.
I put a lot of effort into a lot of different people that wasn't uplifting me. Like, and it made me go back and evaluate all of the things. I mean, from section to section, from family, from friends, from employment, from unemployment, from whatever it might have been. What am I like now? It's like, okay, I have a goal. I have goals.
It gave you time.
It's targeted, right?
To tap into yourself.
Exactly. So for me, I think I will say mentally, I didn't allow it to break me. Like I tried my hardest to not be broken. And sometimes, like now, let me say this respectfully: broke, but not broken. And people don't get that, right?
That's
like
so true.
I'm okay with not having no money in my account, but I'm not okay with the fact that money not coming in my account coming soon, right? I think personally, while we're in this situation, to be able to say, okay, right, my bank account might be low, but I still have the ability to raise the capital that's necessary. Like I have the ability to be able to kind of step out in different territories and be like, okay, let me finally do what it is that I've been saying. All right, I don't know about y'all, but I got a strong faith. And for me, it's like, all right, I've been asking for more time. I've been asking for, I've been asking for more time. I've been asking for more space. I don't have nothing. I can't have no time to think. I can't have no time to work on my dream. And then it's like, all right, cool. Here you go.
Yeah.
Right.
And for a lot of people, they got this time and still ain't done nothing with it.
That's what I'm saying. I feel like I'm thankful for everything I have, my job, all that. But if I feel like if I would have had that time, I would have been able to be more creative and tap into what I really want to do with my life. So, you know what I'm saying? Like,
do you think, and this is more personal, and we wanted to start off this way because sometimes we dive directly into the athletic space and then we forget that we're still removed from it sometimes, right? Because I mean, technically, as us being former athletes, like the drive that we have stems from what we did. It's always there, right? But I'm going to ask you controversially, it's like, all right, cool, you not hooping no more, so that don't matter, right? But sometimes the thing that I wondered the most is, would I have survived as an athlete in COVID?
I feel like I personally wouldn't have. My little sister was her freshman year of college.
Shout out to Nay.
She hoops.
Yeah, little sis.
So it was a thing with her team to where like they were practicing for 1 week and then they're on quarantine for 2 weeks. Then they get off quarantine and practice again. They're staying in hotels. They can't come out of their room. So it's like, I was checking on her on a consistent basis. Like, how are you mentally? Like, this is really tough. Like,
gotta check in.
You can't get in the flow of basketball for one. Then, like, you're really isolated. You can't even like get fresh air. You know what I'm saying? Like, So it's like she was telling me that she was fine, but it's like I know personally, I probably would tell y'all I was fine too if I was on the other side, but I would be really like depressed or something. Like, what am I going to do in here? I can't do anything.
Like, what do I do?
Lost. Like, even in
you're away from everybody.
Right. Even in the thought. Now, here's the thing. Normally, like with pre-COVID, our mental battle was already being away from home.
Yeah.
Right? Like, so now you're talking being away from home during COVID. You can't go home. If you go home, you got to quarantine. And then you got to come back and still quarantine. So it's like you hit what you. My whole life is a quarantine.
Either way, you're like
Right.
And then it's like, okay.
You know what I want to say.
I was about to say
Either way, you know.
But okay, so
But listen,
do you think?
First of all, I just want to shout out like the whole human species as a whole because we have such a great ability to adapt.
Definitely.
So I just want to say that first and foremost. But being an athlete in this particular situation, like when you're on the outside looking in, it's like, yo, I couldn't have did that.
I couldn't have.
There's no way.
Nope.
But at the same time, when you have your scholarship that's on the line, it's mandatory, and they're like saying, "Oh, okay, well, everybody's been tested. Y'all can do these practices, or y'all can do these games. There's no fans." Like at that point in time, what I thought about was you don't have a choice.
Go with it.
You don't have a choice. So what you gonna say? Deuces, I'm out.
Yeah.
You know what?
And that's so much pressure as an athlete.
You just said something that
It makes you look weak.
I kind of want to
Right.
I want to dive a little bit deeper into because of the fact that you said your scholarship is on the line. And I want to speak from the perspective of the person who never got their scholarship.
Okay.
For me, I think it would have been a catch-22 because while I'm seeing how I moved in this situation, I gotta say I've been clapping myself up and patting myself on the back because of the fact that I found a way. But in the beginning half of it, knowing how bad my depression was as an athlete that never got my chance, I probably don't think I would physically be here. Like, and I'm saying that because I know somebody else is probably thinking it. Because of the fact that for me, sports was all I knew. Like, I'm not gonna speak for y'all. Like, sports was all I knew. You couldn't tell me the game of basketball was not gonna pay me, no matter what the dollar amount was. It didn't matter to me because the game was something that was me. It was my identity. It was how I considered myself. Mentally, when you took that from me, I didn't know what to do. So now I'm sitting here like, wait a minute. If I had to replay my entire story, going to 3 different universities, trying at 3 different coaches, and all of them told me some sort of BS type situation, and I literally still never got my chance, and I survived that, but I barely made it. Now you talking about doing this with COVID, and coaches can make their own decisions at the time. They ain't have to do no tryouts. They ain't have to bring nobody on. They ain't have to engage with nobody. Like, it was so many different broken rules from NCAA that normally would have to have steps that you have to have marked off. I promise you, I probably would not have made it. I know I wouldn't have made it. Because I barely made it with the BS situation of this student athlete situation that we calling it.
But I want to say though, if you was in a different predicament, your mindset is definitely different. So I really think that if you were in a different predicament, that you definitely would have made it. You would have went through it. Like you would have. Like me knowing you, I feel like you would have made it through. Like regardless of.
Every day I think about it, I'm like,
What I'm thinking is how your perception is your reality. So it was different when you were actually trying to try out for these teams and everything. But COVID is a whole different ball game now. Right. You know what I mean? So I feel like how you perceived it probably would end up being different.
Probably.
But
well, there was a lot of different athletes. First of all, before we even go any deeper, I want to shout out every athlete that was able to participate.
Definitely. Shout out to y'all.
Every athlete.
Y'all have a different type of energy that I personally don't know if I could have embraced in that moment. I don't know if I would have been able to embrace the fact that I have to sit in my room. Like, now, let's be honest. When
these
you
are
on a
kids.
team,
and these are kids.
Right.
You're still a kid.
When you on a team, you
college.
automatically call it family, but you know you got family.
Yeah.
Right? So when you got your family, you like, okay, hold on. I still got a mama. I still got a daddy. I still got a cousin, a brother,
Right.
Sister twice removed, whatever you want to call them, right? At the end of the day, now I'm like, this is my family. This is all I got. I can't go home.
Right.
So homesick, what is that? No, I don't know what that is.
And then if you're not even getting along with your teammates and you're in a miserable situation, playing wise, it's like
wow. I ain't even think about.
I cannot imagine.
You know
that
what I'm saying?
aspect.
I know what it's like without COVID. You feel me? So
exactly.
So,
I ain't really.
So then, okay, let me ask you this because I mean you brought it up, so I'm gonna ask the miserable part of it before, like mentally. How were you able to deal with the fact of being on a team with teammates that you literally didn't get along with?
It wasn't a thing to where I never got along with my teammates. Like I'm the type of person that I don't have to have a relationship with everybody here. Like if we're cordial, high and by, that's cool. You know what I'm saying? Like if you don't like me, that's on you. I want to say like I don't think the relationship with your teammates really like causes a mental breakdown. I just feel like me personally, being on a team to where I know that I should have been playing ahead of everybody in front of me. Yeah. That really messed me up.
That's
you know what
more
I'm saying?
so
Because it's like, I could be somewhere else. Why are you wasting my time? And I worked so hard. Like, why are you doing this to me? So as a kid, like, some coaches don't understand. Like, I'm 18, 19, 20, 21 years old. I'm still a kid. Like, I'm still a kid.
Right.
I'm just getting out of living with my folks. You know what I'm saying? Getting on my own. I got to deal with, you know what I'm saying, people my mother can't take up for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, can't nobody do nothing. So
that's the one.
The parents
it's
can't
really,
do too much.
it really messes you up. Like, I know from my experience when I was at ODU, freshman year I redshirted. You know what I'm saying? Like, it was a different thing for me. I had to adjust. My second year, I came back in shape, 20 pounds lighter, busting tail in practice. My teammates, my coaches knew what was up with me. And it was a thing to where, like,
now
why am I not playing,
now
bruh?
what?
You know what I'm saying? So
Now
it
what?
really messed with me. Like, my grades declined. Like, I had like a freaking 1.5. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I keep up with my school stuff. Like, so...
But you got
it was really
now,
tough. Yeah. Two. Shout out to VSU. You know what I'm saying? Hold up. Two in the certification. Two in the certification. You hear me? But Paris, what would you say was what did you go through? I know you transferred schools too. So what was the cause like there?
So it's crazy that this is like the mental health episode because I'm definitely like one of those overthinker type of people. Like, and it definitely for me came out on the court. Like things that should have just been like second nature or, you know, I should have just been able to do it. I didn't do it because I overthought it. And then, so that was my personal aspect of it. But as far as like getting along with your teammates, like I was a part of the first recruiting class at Bethune-Cookman when I went, and my roommate, who was my teammate, we were both freshmen. We didn't even speak. Like after the first 2 days of being roommates, like we talked beforehand, coming to school and everything. We was talking on Facebook and everything. And we got there that first night, it just was like a miss. I didn't even speak to my own teammate that was my roommate as my freshman. So had a little beef there. I mean, but me, like I'm pretty solid. Like I don't really need anybody else for me to keep going. But yeah. So my first school, I think I was in my shell a lot, you know, like you said, you're still a child, you're still trying to get to know who you are and you coming out your shell. And I came all the way from DC and I went to Daytona Beach. Like,
that's far.
Be careful what you ask for because you just might get it. That's the thing. Because I wanted to be in the South where it was warm and nice out. So I got what I wanted. But then I got down there and I was still in my shells trying to figure things out. Me and my roommate and teammate wasn't even talking. So now it's like the caddy stuff. And then just trying to like, you know, the camaraderie between everybody else on the team. I personally felt like I didn't really fit in there. So, and then unfortunately, like as much as I was trying to be and do my best on the floor, like my overthinking and stuff like that kind of trickled out on like, you know, on the floor as well. So trying to take all that in and being COVID, like I can only imagine.
Janae, I got something for you. Okay. So it's like, you know, growing up with you, we've been hooping for a while. Then we get to college. Like, I counted on you playing. So it really like affected me. Like, we're talking on a consistent basis.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, and you're not playing. Like, that really hurt me as well. You know what I'm saying? Because you were more than capable. Yeah. You worked hard. You know what I'm saying? You showed all the dedication. You were practicing.
Her work ethic
in the gym. The work ethic always been there. You know what I'm saying? Like, you even switched schools. So it's like, how do you feel? Like, how did you feel during that time? How did you get through? Because I salute you for going through that. Like, it's really tough. Journey. Like, that's tough.
It was, so for me, it was tough because I relied on a lot of people. Mm-hmm. And as an athlete, reliability is the first thing that we're basically taught without it being taught. We're taught, move the ball down the floor. Okay, how do I move the ball down the floor? The fastest way is through a pass, which means I have to rely on this person to be capable to catch this pass I'm getting ready to throw. Whether it's an outlet, whether it's a no look, whether it's a over the head, whatever it might be. It could be a skew ball, like straight down. Whatever it might be, I'm relying on you to be there to catch it. Then I'm also relying on coaches. And I think the one thing that I would say is coaches went through a very new transition of understanding what they did not do because of COVID. And for me, I think the only thing that probably would have been different is that if I had to play in COVID, now both of us have to see eye to eye. Because while I'm playing or was trying to play, I had coaches that just knew they had whatever, like they was the cream of the crop. They were, because they had this title, they had this position, they were the person that could dictate your future. They were also the same people that looked down on me. Now, I didn't ask for scholarship money. I didn't care. I just wanted a jersey. Yep. And at that point, I had summed up everything to the point where I'm like, listen, if you can just give me a shot, let me, like, I'll make it happen. One of the schools, I actually did intramurals and had MVP, still got the trophies and everything. Matter of fact, I think that's when I came down and played at Norfolk State in a tournament and met you at ODU.
Yeah.
And had MVP, brought us back, everything. And I'm playing for, at the time, the assistant coach of the women's basketball team at the first school that I went to. And I'm like, okay, if I bust my behind, he gonna go tell, like, yo, she need to move here. Word never made it. Like, nothing ever showed up. Nothing came out of it. And I'm sitting here like, what more am I supposed to do? And you didn't have to, like, force me in the gym. You had to force me out of the gym.
Facts, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. Like,
so I went from that school to another school where I was invited by the coach. Well, before we get to that point, I'll say it like this. I transferred on my own and inserted myself into a situation that was kind of situated. Coach at the time had
situated situation.
You see what I'm saying? The coach at the time, she had two positions. The new athletic director got hired. And of course, just like coaches do, when new coaches come in, they don't see what they have sometimes. They release the people that didn't produce. So people don't get to, sustain their scholarship opportunities because, I didn't recruit you, is the statement.
Exactly. Yeah.
So basically, when the new athletic director came in, he released her of her duties. So she was no longer the head coach, which means now I just transferred to a school and went through the same thing I went through at school number one.
You know what? That's a good point, though, because so many people, like even men, I know this is, primarily female, but, you're attached to a coach at some point in time and they're like promising you or you thinking that you're going to get in with this staff. And the next thing they leave and now you're kind of like kicked to the curb.
Yep.
And then that coaching staff isn't there anymore.
And another thing is what these coaches do nowadays. Like they tell these players, I'm going to do this and that for you when you get here. And the player gets there and it doesn't happen. You gotta stop wasting these kids' time because they could go to another school and be happy. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, we're still learning to, even me at 30, You know what I'm saying? Like, you can't expect for me to be strong through every situation. Like, these coaches got to stop wasting these kids' time too. Like,
but stay there because you said something.
I want to comment on that too.
Yeah, stay there because what happens is, so literally directly after after I got to the second school, when I got to the second school, the coach invited me to do summer workouts, invited me to do open gyms, invited me to preseason. I literally did everything as if I was already on the team, only to be told, this mess is shattered. I want to rebuild around you. I want to rebuild around you next year. And then 15 minutes after that statement is made, I said, well, can I bring my parents in because you can hit it? Because, I mean, technically in school, you still a child.
A child. Facts.
So I said, well, can you explain this to my parents? Because I don't know how this going to go.
Yeah. My dad was with me on my transfer
You
for
hear
my
me?
visit. So
I come in the door. You know what Brett said? Oh, we only told her she was going to make the team if somebody got hurt. Hold on. It was only 7 people on the roster, Slim. It's 15 people on this roster. It's a 15-woman roster. What you mean if somebody get hurt? You all hurt. What we talking about? And so for me, I broke down crying. Emotionally lost it because I literally felt like you were telling me what you did, I wasn't good enough. Because he legit said this to me later. Like, you would never be good enough to touch the floor.
It breaks your heart.
Coaches don't realize they become the parents that athletes rely on.
they know it when they're recruiting you.
Oh, they know. They come sit on your couch and they just be like, yo, hey.
Oh, we're going to take such great care of you.
It's so much that
They
comes
don't want
into
to.
it.
They don't want to play against you, but they want to have you and
So
just to let you
pamper
live.
you until they feel like, you know what I'm saying, they can
business.
use you. You know, they just gotta stop wasting these kids.
I wanted to comment on what she said though, because granted, we are technically children while we're still in college and everything, but you know, most of these coaches, they're not like in 50s or 60s years.
Oh, no,
old.
young.
You know, they're young.
Yeah.
So from my experience, you know, my head coach, I don't know her whole story, but she was dealing with a lot. And I personally feel like just from my judge of character that came out on some of the players,
you just said
especially
something.
me.
Now we podding.
So
talking.
anyway, you know, no names or anything, but yeah, like that's their mental health that they have to work with and deal with, is, you know, because they're dealing with other people's children. They're dealing with people that come from different backgrounds. You know, you're dealing with having to be able to coach people that are, you know, coached in different ways. So we talking about mental health, like these coaches, you know,
and they play
you gotta
mind
take
games.
care of us, but you gotta make sure you good up here too, and everybody ain't.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna lie, all my coaches for real after high school have been like kind of crazy. Love y'all. Y'all are great at what y'all do. You kind of gotta be crazy to do it.
Yeah.
But you know, like that mental health is real.
And I want us to be clear on this too, because like, it's not a level of bashing, and I think we always have to say
not
this.
at all.
It's growth and
It's
learning.
Because
honestly,
I will honestly say, like, the only way, because you asked, how did I deal with it? It took me 10 years to get over it. It took me 10 years. Now, I mean, I'm about to tell my age, but I came out of high school in 09.
09.
Okay?
Oh, you almost 30.
I did.
I'm already
Bruh,
30.
this year, bruh.
You know what I'm saying?
30.
Right? I know I talk like an old soul, but it's cool. I came out of high school in 09. It took me until 2019. Now, mind you, I just want to paint this picture for you. I am going down a 10-year journey. I've graduated from college. I have lost my ability in being able to play ball. I don't know what to do with my life now, because everything that has been taught to me makes no sense because it doesn't have a basketball in my hand. At the time, we were taught to create a life plan that was substantial enough that said, what do you want to do in your 5 years? What do you want to send? What's your one thing you're going to do? Okay, for me, I was going to play ball. I was either going to I was going to get drafted. I was going overseas. Once I did that, I was going to retire. I was going to go coach. I was going to retire from that, and I was going to have a full-blown commentating career for some sports network. It's still available. However, with this being said, because of that not happening, I felt like my entire world was ended. And we don't give credit to those athletes who honestly were good enough to play on higher levels and never got an opportunity or just played on a lower level just so that way they didn't lose their mind and then they don't know what they're gonna do. And so for me, identity wise, I didn't know who I was.
Yep.
Because I had no shorts on, I had no jersey, my basketball was in the car still, and I had on no shoes, and my flip-flops was just basically what my house shoes was every day and my regular shoes. Like, I didn't know what to do with my life.
I salute you, Janae. Like, I don't, like, you know, we both had like crazy situations, but your situation, I don't know how I would have been able to get through. I feel like it's way tougher than mine. You know what I'm saying? Like, I went to ODU when it was they just went to Sweet 16.
Yep,
you know what I'm saying?
I
went. You know what I'm saying? That following year. So my whole thought process was I was already in high school. You know what I'm saying?
That was
like,
all of us. Like, we
I done played
against damage.
I done played against all the, you know what I'm saying, like top girls in other states and cooked them. So I'm like, I'm about to go here. I'm about to do my thing. My first year, I adjusted to being a freshman. You know what I'm saying? Everybody had came back, so I didn't mind sitting back and learning. You know, shout out to Wendy Lurie. You know, she excellent coach, legendary coach. I'm not going to knock her at all. Yeah. But it's like,
we get flowers around here.
Yeah. But it's like it really took me probably like, even though I was still playing, it really took me a while to get over this situation because like I'm used to not getting accolades that I deserve. Like I never get things that I think I deserve. I don't even count on that anymore. I don't need no credit. But
oh man,
it took me like eight solid years. It's probably been like, you know, 3 years since I've been over the situation. Like I just feel like if that would have worked out, I probably would have been in the league. But it's like now I feel like I ain't have to go to the league. I got bigger things like to do. Like nothing against WNBA players. Like I love y'all. I support y'all. But
they support us.
You know what I'm saying? But what I come to do for the world is like bigger. So we got to take these opportunities, you know, what we've been through and just like use it to,
for sure.
Yeah, to be the voice for somebody else.
I think even after that, like I'm gonna be candid and I'm gonna be very frank. It wasn't until I had to find a way to actually release it back. I had to give that energy back. I literally felt like I had the weight of 10 tow trucks on my back for 10 years. And it was days I didn't go to sleep. I didn't know what it was because I graduated from college, right? We have a degree. Now, granted, we can't even declare for the draft until our third year, right? So it didn't make sense to graduate to come out of school without no degree in my case, right? So, in our case at that time, because the CBA wasn't what it is today, so we would still be less than six figures at the time that we went in, right? So, my thought process was, after that, I have my degree, but the first job that I can get was as a sales associate. I just want to be real candid, right?
I was just having this
that's
conversation.
True. I just want to be very candid, right?
Yeah.
You have a whole
definitely.
We have a whole degree. So mentally now, I feel like I've been taken away from my love, my first love, right? I've been taken away from all financial gain because now I have all of these different loans, which should have been scholarships. And the only job I can get was in retail. Now, let me show you this. I took everything I learned from basketball and utilized it in life.
Definitely.
And that's what they don't teach us.
It teaches you so much.
It teaches you a lot.
That's what they don't teach us. They don't teach us how sometimes, and I'm gonna use it like a cut and dry situation for those that's the athlete part of it. If you're not, just stay with me. If you can understand how to go from baseline to baseline, meaning from line to line on each side of the court, that means I need to learn how to work a room. That's how I looked at it. I need to learn how to get from point A to point B.
Definitely.
How do I get there? Yeah. And we learned how to do multiple things inside the lines. Suicides, baseline sprints, UCLA's, 16s,
Ladders.
All
of that.
Yeah.
It was so many different things that we learned how to do.
Yeah, exactly.
But they don't show us. They don't teach us that because the student part of the student athlete comes second, even though the word comes first.
Exactly. And my advice,
Okay.
my advice to any athlete, like, don't go to schools and try to study the easiest thing there because you think you're gonna go to the league. Anything can happen.
Right.
Study something that's really gonna get you some money, like, or, you know what I'm saying? Like, you got to, like, just you
can
really
go
have to,
get your
even if you're not
master's
even
after that.
Yeah, you gotta
Something.
study something that's gonna make
How
you some
was your
bread.
identity after sports?
Listen, I've been sitting here being patient, waiting on my time to shine, okay? Because
Come on, sis.
so first being in my Division I program and leaving, like when I left there, like I literally was over playing basketball. Like I was done with it.
Yeah,
like
me too.
I
I
didn't
hated
appreciate
basketball
the experience. It kind of like made me like hate the game. And I played ball since I was in 4th grade. So then
Ooh, that's the name of the pod. Hate the game. Yeah, love it.
No, but anyway, so yeah, so then I end up transferring. They gave me a great opportunity at Virginia Union, so I took it. My dad actually, shout out to Union. My dad actually took me on my visit and everything, so that ended up being a much better experience for me. But then I like lost my dad. I got the Union in 2011 in the fall. My dad passed away February of 2012. So that's my junior year going into my senior year. Yep. That's when I lost my dad. So, and I had my dad played in the NBA, played overseas. He played all over the world. So he literally brought me up. Like my house was the basketball house. My mother lived in the gym, even on Mother's Day. Yep. But yeah, like having that happen to me too, like the person that got me rooted in all of this is now gone. Yep. So then I finished playing, knocked it out. I got MVP my senior year in the CIAA tournament. I was there. So that was awesome. On the exact day a year later that my dad died. But then it was just like, we talking about identity after sports. Then like basketball was over. Yep. I graduated. I got my degree. And it's just like, what now? Like I played ball since I was 4. Right. I've been in college and everything. My whole life revolved around basketball. Mm-hmm. So trying to figure out my identity after that. Man, that's a road.
So I'm going to ask you this because a lot of people don't speak on the topic of losing a loved one. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times our nature of who we or why we do it for, right? Like what's our why? Mm-hmm. Is centered around family because we go back and we look and we say, Mom and Dad done spent all these hours taking us to all these camps. They traveling with us. They done all this. They done took off work. They done complained about why your grades look like this and I'm doing this and why them shoes look like this and that. Right? But then you lost the one person that put you in the game.
I'm telling you.
So how? And I can only imagine because we had the opportunity to play together and your dad was instrumental even in my life when I was there.
He loved you, bro.
And so. We've never had this conversation, but how was that even in that moment? Because I remember when you were driving back and forth home after practice to go back to school, to come back before the CI tournament, just to see, because you never knew the moment of what was going to happen.
Yeah,
so how was it dealing with the loss of a loved one and still trying to find the love for the game from the person that put you into the game that's no longer here?
Okay, so let me just give y'all a quick story real quick. So my dad, he died from lung cancer, stage 4 lung cancer. We found out in October he was gone by February. So February is right before we were going to see eyes. Like that weekend that I got the call to come back home and see my dad was on a Saturday. We was leaving Sunday to go down to the CIAA tournament. And this is my junior year. Like we had won, I think, the North Division CIAA conference champions that year. Yep. We did, but we was hooping. We was that year.
I wasn't there.
I ended up having to leave and like go see my dad, and that was that Saturday. My dad passed away 3:00 in the morning, Monday morning. So, but you said like the transition, like going back and forth and everything, like, man, I don't know. I mean, we were very hopeful, and as a family, we kind of came together, and we just knew that he was going to beat it. So that kind of kept me going. Basketball, honestly, like kind of saved me through the whole process because I had something to do. you know, I was focused. I still had to be there for my team.
Yeah.
Like, you know, like persevering through life, no matter what's happening and pushing through things. Like, you know, you experiencing that. So, you know, I just had to, you know, put my head down. I was on scholarship.
Yep.
So I, you know, was obligated to be an athlete and be there. So, you know, it was, and then after he passed away, so I pretty much missed the tournament my junior year. Yep. So now it's like, oh, it's redemption time. Like, I'm coming back my senior year. And now it's time to take off. Right. Like, and if anything, I'm gonna do it for him.
Motive change. The motive change.
Yeah.
People don't realize how to engage into that motive. Like when the motivation is one way and then it switches immediately. And I can only imagine like, cause like your dad was young, like, and then you were still young, right? So it's like, you know, it's especially when you have, and I say this because I know my dad. Looking at my father and how like I've always done everything he's done, played drums, right? Pledged, right? Yo, like, so, and then on top of that, playing ball. Most fathers want that from their sons, but my dad always wanted a girl, and so when he got daddy's girl to go do what daddy does, it was like,
oh yeah, definitely.
Oh, bet, like
he was ready to be in the gym, okay?
And so I can only imagine what that's like to even say my dad's gone.
So the one thing I'm sitting here thinking about it, like, you know, it was hard, but my father, even in high school, if we had like, we stunk up the gym that night, we played to our best ability, he'd be like, look, don't play this game for me. He'd be like, you gonna go out there, if you play this game, you gonna go out there and play the game and respect this game. So don't do it for me. If you want to do it for you and respect it. So that's just something that I carry, you know. And I think out my senior year.
I think if we had to pin this conversation, I would even say to an extent of understanding who you are beyond the game is very important.
Absolutely.
And you can't rely on anyone to teach you. I think the one thing I can say that kind of saved me was when I had to learn how to date myself. And people don't understand that dating is not just associated with other people.
Other people.
I'm not just going going out to eat with this person. I'm going out to eat with this person. I'm going out to eat with this person. Right. That's not, no. I had to get to a point where I had to figure out who I was. What was my favorite color all over again?
Listen.
What did I like to eat? Did I like to drink? What was it that I like to drink? Whether that was soda, water, or a drink. Like
a drink.
Like a drink. Like, you know, do I like Gatorade or Powerade? Like, what am I drinking at this point? Like, it was a thing for me that when I legit had to like date myself, most of the time people find that being weird. To this day, I go treat myself to go get something to eat all the time.
I'm not even gonna lie. I really didn't even learn that lesson until like the last 2 years of my life.
Wow.
Like recent for me. Like this wasn't even ball in college that did it for me. Like just personally dealing in relationships with, you know, people like exes and stuff.
Yeah.
Like I ended up having to learn that. And that is so important. Like, bro, that's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother part.
I'm just saying.
That's a whole look at me.
I felt that one. That is so real.
But I want to say something though. So my experience, like when I left ODU, like my grades I was going through a mental breakdown. Like it was probably the worst time of my life. My grades were so bad and like my stats were trash. No school wanted to give me a chance. They like, you a liability. Your grades trash. Your stats look crazy. So I was home for 2 years.
Hey, little baby, what is you doing?
So for them 2 years, I was home. Baby. Like I went to PG Community College, get my grades up so I can go somewhere else. And I worked. So while working, I was making like 11 an hour. I'm like, I can't do this. Like I gotta go to school. I'm like,
I'm not gonna lie.
I gotta go to school and get money.
So I've been waiting to hear it. I just want you to know that.
Yeah. That's why I was so old playing against y'all and stuff.
Listen.
But I was out for 2 years. You know, I worked. So I'm like, I gotta go to school for something that's gonna make me some bread. That's why I study engineering. Yeah. So Asia, y'all know Asia. She called me, was like, yeah, fool, what you trying to do? I'm trying to get you a V-State. I'm like, let's get it. So that's how that, you know what I'm saying? Shout out to Asia.
Like that, real hood.
Shout out to Asia, man. Like, I owe Asia a bunch of everything. You know what I'm saying? So that's what happened for me. Like nobody wanted to give me a chance after I left.
And I think so. So all in all, you know, it's important not only to check on yourself mentally every day, but also be able to. I love how the game is transcending now because the girls are actually embracing their look. They love what they do. They love how they look.
For sure.
And they're putting the ball down, but the ball is still associated with their look.
Their look, yep.
So
you got that swag.
If we had to wrap this up,
Got that sweet.
one thing I would say, everybody could say one thing. For me, I would say be able to embrace you aside from the game. Walk in the gym without your stuff and literally say, if this ends tomorrow, what would I do? And sit in the gym and literally ask yourself, and if you don't get an answer right now, that's fine. But at least you've started the process. That's what I would leave it with. Like
that's good. That's good advice.
Good.
I can't say like what? What?
You got it, bro.
You got it.
Oh my goodness.
Nah, for me, I would just say, because I was like the overthinker and like more of the mental aspect too, is you know, you dealing with stuff, but you don't know what somebody else is dealing with. You know, when it comes to the coaches, your teammates, you don't know what anybody else is dealing with. So just always kind of keep that in your back pocket. And you dealing with stuff too, but so is everybody else.
Exactly.
So think about that. You know, it takes being mature, but do that.
Yeah. I love it. That's how we ended it.
That's how we ended it. Let's get it.
Cheers on that one.